American Pie started with four helpless virgins who made a pledge to get laid by the end of high school. Then came that unforgettable summer at Lake Michigan, where Stifler thought he found lesbians, Finch dressed up like a girl, and Jim glued himself to himself. Then 4 years later, Jim and that ginger nympho band geek Michelle got married. I think we all remember the shenanigans Stifler got into. Does the gay bar and Jim's granny ring any bells? Okay, so here's where they started to lose the plot. You remember Stifler's little brother Matt? Basically, he wants to join Steve in the family business of pornography, but then when a prank goes wrong, he is sent to band camp where he learns what true friends are. The film was okay, but it was also the first film not written by Adam Hers, the creator of American Pie. Then we were introduced to Eric Stifler and his problems with being both a virgin and a Stifler. Then Eric's story continued in Beta House, where he and his friends pledged the legendary Beta House, and then took part in the Greek Olympiad. Now we have this. American Pie presents The Book of Love. The Book of Love was first announced in late 2008 and was originally going to be written by Adam Hers. In the end, Hers pulled out. The Book of Love was written by David H. Steinberg and directed by John Putch. Book of Love is set exactly 10 years after the original American Pie and centers around another group of virgins and their attempts to get laid. After an accident in the school's library, Rob, portrayed by Buck Hall, discovers the sex Bible, and well, you can pretty much guess what happens next. In a nutshell, the film is terrible, but it does have its redeeming points, though not enough to fully redeem the film. There is far too many references to the previous films, such as Rob using the peanut butter sandwich in the fashion Jim used the apple pie. The guy that constantly follows Stifler around videotaping everything, which is a callback to Bandcamp and Matt Stifler, as well as the Nadia reference and cameo of Jim Levinstein towards the end of the film. If you look really closely, there are at least one reference to one or all of the previous films in every scene. Some are more obvious than others. Well, enough of that, let's meet the cast. Rob, the main protagonist of the film, is portrayed by Bug Hall. Bug isn't a bad actor, but I don't think he suits the part as Rob. Overall, his performance was pretty good, but it definitely lacked the spark and energy of Jason Biggs. Kevin M. Horton plays one of Rob's offsiders, Nathan. Though his acting is half decent, there are portions in the film where he just seems to be reciting stuff he's read from the script. There is no attempt to even act. This is a sad excuse for a Stifler. It is unclear how he is related to Steve, Matt, Eric, or Dwight. John Jordan's portrayal of Stifler is an honest joke and an insult to the character originally portrayed by Sean William Scott. This reincarnation of Stifler has a tendency to speak in a boring monotone similar to that of a history professor. He doesn't use the F-bomb as much as the previous Stiflers, but when he does, it seems forced and out of place. The only real humour that comes from Stifler is towards the end of the film where he is overpowered by a moose. Overall, the story is half decent, just poorly executed. The acting is dull, but there are some scenes with redeeming elements. But that sad excuse of a Stifler just digs the pit deeper. If Universal really want to keep extending upon the American Pie franchise, they need Adam Hers to write the next film. They should also consider having the Wees brothers, who directed the original American Pie, come back to direct any future sequels. Overall, I give it 1.5 stars. I wouldn't watch it unless you really want to see what happens in the series, but I can assure you, you're not missing out on much. Until they make a true American Pie 4 with Jim, Finch and the original Stifler, I'd avoid watching these spin-off films after this monstrosity to the franchise.